Hey guys, it's Dan here from the Corporate Thief Beats, and you're listening to the Mixtape Marketing Podcast, episode 6, promoting your mixtapes online and starting with a good mixtape cover. Okay, in today's episode I'm going to talk about starting a good mixtape with a good mixtape cover. Obviously you've sat down, recorded a great album. Now it's really important for you to create good graphics, good packaging to help promote that mixtape cover or that mixtape that you've just made. It's vital for your marketing. If you're promoting something, let's say if you're promoting anything, if you buy anything at a shop, you'll see branding, and the way you purchase something over another thing will come down to the covers and the branding of that item. It's the exact same with a CD cover or an album or a mixtape cover. It's the first thing that your fan will see. It's when they come to a mixtape site or they come to your website and they see a really nice cover, it will entice them and poke their curiosity. I see tons of artists out there now, and I know when you're just starting out, you don't do everything perfect. I would always say try when you first start out. Try and make a good mixtape cover. If you don't have a budget, I'll get into that in a second. But if you do have a budget, do what everyone else does. Get a job. Do you know what I mean? There's no way you have to pay for stuff. If you're good with graphic design, you should have no excuses. If you're an artist like that, you should have no excuses. But if you are not good with graphic design, you will have to hire someone to create that mixtape cover for you. So please do not cut your budget and start buying stupid things online that you don't need, like fake Twitter followers or fake likes to your Facebook page. Save that money for a good mixtape cover. A poorly designed mixtape cover will not get you good downloads or will not get proper fans. It doesn't matter how hard or how good you've worked on that album. You really need it deserves a proper packaging to help promote that work, that body of work that you've created. If you spend all that time in your own home studio or in a friend's studio recording beats over beats and making mixtapes, the least thing you can do for that body of work is give it the best mixtape cover possible to promote that mixtape cover. It's just like anything. You won't go to a club wearing terrible clothes because it gives a bad image of you. Do you know what I mean? Why would you promote a mixtape with a bad mixtape cover? It's really cheap these days to get a mixtape cover, and you shouldn't have any excuses. Like I said, if you don't have the money to do it, I'll get into little tiny strategies later on how you can just get that little bit of money just to promote or just to buy a mixtape cover. There's tons of graphic mixtape designers online these days, and varies from price. You can obviously get a really high pro one for like thousands of dollars, or you can get like one for like $50 or $100, or depends. There's tons of great mixtape cover designers on there. Examples of good mixtape covers that I've seen: Rick Ross is really good with it. He's really clever with it. Wiz Khalifa is really clever with it. And one of my favorite ones is the Dream Chasers one with Meek Mill. That was one of my favorite mixtape covers. I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool one. That kind of blue, that glow, kind of blue-green kind of glow around, and that kind of puff of smoke with Dream Chasers in it. I thought it was a really cool mixtape cover. Another great one was the Game's California Republic. The mixtape was okay. There were some good songs on it, but that mixtape cover really, I didn't really hear much about him coming out with a mixtape cover, but a new mixtape. But when I saw that cover of the Californian flag, and he replaced the bear with Oscar from Oscar from Sesame Street. I just thought it was a really clever marketing trick, and it totally worked. And I listened to that mixtape because of that mixtape cover, not because I've heard any of the music beforehand. Obviously, I know who the game is. I've heard his raps before, but it was that mixtape cover that enticed me to check out that mixtape cover. And this is the kind of awe and curiosity that you have to poke with your mixtape cover. People don't buy with just word of mouth and stuff. They don't just buy with just that. They buy with their eyes. A picture will paint 1,000 words for you. You've heard that phrase over and over again. So spend time on creating a professional product. It's your image. It's your brand. You've spent all that time working in the studio, and having a bad image or a mixtape cover will reflect on you. You spent all the time recording good songs. You wrote all those songs. They mean so much to you, and people have a short attention span. Like when you're on these mixtape sites, obviously you have to have your own website, like I told you in the previous podcasts. But if you're on these other mixtape sites where you have to upload your mixtape to all these sites anyway, you only have a small real estate on those websites. You have the image cover of your mixtape cover, and that's it. That's all you got. So you really have to make it work. So really create an album cover that will stick out, and don't just create this money kind of mixtape cover, generic mixtape cover that probably 1,000 other artists have. Try and really create something that actually means something to you, and that can really reflect on the music that you've created. Also, try and create something that's going to stand out from the crowd too. Something that fans will remember when they see that image everywhere. I think it's really important. People don't have that good attention span on social media sites like Twitter, Facebook, etc. But if you just grab them that instant with a good mixtape cover, it will make it count. You will get a new fan, and they will follow your music. It's just, you only have a few seconds, so really get that done well. What your mixtapes, it says about you. You don't want to create a bad mixtape because a bad mixtape cover, because it'll invite trolls in. If you put that mixtape up on YouTube, I think YouTube is one of the worst places for trolls. If you put that mixtape cover up on YouTube, the trolls are going to come out and have a field day with you. And it's unfair, because you could have great songs on that. You could have spent a lot of money creating that. You could have bought beats, you could have bought advertising, you could have bought studio time, you could have bought a microphone. You could have spent a bit of money on this, and then the one thing you cheapen up on is a mixtape cover. If I were you, I would get a couple of different mixing covers and then send it out to your fan newsletter, fan mail, or send it out to your social media sites and ask your fans which mixtape cover is the best one for that mixtape. It's a great way of building rapport with your fans as well, bringing them into your world. And you don't want people to take the piss out of you. You've spent a lot of time working on this. Don't give a reason for trolls to poke fun at you. You never know. If you make a bad mixtape cover, friends might create a meme out of it then the next day, and you're just a joke to them, and they don't take you seriously. Do you know what I mean? I have a really good blog on my site, blog post on my site on some great mixtape cover designers. Mixtape Cover King is one guy I'll recommend. He created the Greed is Good mixtape cover for me. I released the Greed is Good mixtape last year around summer of 2014, and I had this idea for the mixtape cover. It was, obviously my beat site is called The Corporate Thief Beats, and I thought it was funny to get the very first movie cover of Wall Street and replace it with the gas mask kind of logo guy of The Corporate Thief Beats. And I just thought it was a cool way of promoting my music, and it kind of had that kind of hip-hop kind of vibe to it as well. And just seeing it on all these sites like Hot New Hip Hop, Dat Piff, on my own site, and all these other mixtape sites that I submitted it to, it just felt right there. It felt, yes. And I got a lot of mixtape listens on Got Instrumentals on Dat Piff, Hot New Hip Hop, and all these other sites. And I think the cover just, I don't know, I was happy with my product at the end of it. The beats on that were good. Yeah, I had some good beats on it, and some of the beats now I don't think are great, but I could make better. But I had some really good, I had about 4 really good beats on it, and I thought it was out of 7 beats, I'd have 4 really good, and it just really fit with the theme of the Greed is Good mixtape cover and the whole kind of trap vibe that I had on it. And I thought it was a clever way to market my idea, and I used the whole quotes from the Wall Street movie to entice all my fans and stuff like that on social media, and I just thought it was clever. And it just, you could hear from the way I'm talking that I was proud of creating that body of work, that I paid someone to create a professional mixtape for me. I think it cost me like 60 or 70 bucks to create that cover. I created a front and back cover, and it just really fit with my theme. And definitely check out that article on my site. If you go to my site, thecorporateethos.com, there's a little search box in the right hand side, type in mixtape covers, and you will find that article with all those mixtape cover designers and the prices that they have. Obviously you can go on other sites. There's sites like 99 Designs. That's a bit expensive, but you're going to get a professional, really pro a really pro album cover or mixtape cover. You can try Freelancer. You can try, if you're really on budget, there is some good graphic designers on Fiverr.com. Obviously some are better than others. Try and look at the feedback from them. Try and look at the work that they've already done. But check it out. If you're really low on money, you can get a good mixtape cover for 5 or 10 bucks. Try and get the PSD file, so if you ever wanted to make edits to it, you can get them to edit it again. If you can't afford a mixtape cover, you're going to have to think of some small ways to just get that little bit of income. You probably have tons of old video games at home. Now's the time to flog them and sell them on eBay and see if you can get a bit of money for them. You probably have a bunch of stuff that's in your garage that you don't need anymore. Old consoles, stuff like that you don't use anymore. It's time to sell that stuff. If you have instruments that you don't use anymore, sell them and sell them on eBay and get that money to create your mixtape cover. Obviously you can do what I said in the first place and just get a job. Do you know what I mean? There's no way to get something for free. You can try and make it yourself, but I would really advise not in it. Creating image art is not my forte. I'm not good at that. The blogs, the video blogs, the podcast, creating content, creating beats, all this stuff is where I excel in and I do my best in. Images, using Photoshop, full stop, is just not my forte, and I just don't think I have that side of the brain to create images and stuff like that. So I do not create my own artwork. Any images you see on my site, I might make like little blog screenshots and have like writing over it to highlight my posts and stuff like that. That's what I can create myself with just using my own thing, and that's fine. That they're not really big things to put out there. Obviously, if I in the future, I will really definitely put more time into creating little blog posts with better artwork. But for now, screenshots I'll do grand. And but mixtape covers, I would never cheap up on them. I got a really good graphic designer to design every banner on my site, even my SoundClick page, my Twitter page. I had, like, when I launched that Greed is Good mixtape cover, I had